sitting here at my tiki bar, but I ain't seen the sun all day. There's a storm out there, but I don't care. Yeah, I've got Mike's weather page. Here we go now. Okay. Mike's weather page. You know he'll be tracking every move it makes. You know it's Mike's weather page. You know he won't let us all get blown away. Is it just me or is there spinach in it? There's spaghetti models and empty rum bottles, and sometimes Louis says hi. Hey, Louis. But you don't get no hurries and don't have no worries, cause we're drunk donkey nationwide. Everybody now. Mike's weather page. You know he'll be tracking every move that makes. You know it's Mike's weather page. You know he won't let us all get blown away. Did I ever tell you the story of the drunk donkey? Once upon a time, there was this weather woman. You can come as a pilot, stay kind of quiet, but you know you love watching Mike's face. Yes, we do. So put your chrome head shirt on, watch it live on your phone, and drink drunk donkey beer all day. Here we go now. Mike's weather page. You know he'll be tracking every move that makes. You know it's Mike's weather page. You know he won't let us all get blown away. Is that Blobby Bobby? I think that's Juicy Jerry. Yeah, Mike, throw a party, man.
All right, what's up, everybody? I see some new people. We always do a little video because it takes a while for everybody to get notified and get logged in and see my Chevy Silverado headlight. My Chevy's been in 9 hurricanes. 4 major hurricanes my little Chevy's been in. I can't believe it. 4 major hurricanes I've been in. The eye wall. Yet to be in an eye yet. I've been in 4 eye walls. And they always wobble the wrong way. What's up, Mr. Dale? What's up there, Mary? Hey, James. Courtney from Beaufort, South Carolina. We did live this morning. We do little short ones at night when there's a storm. And I have to keep it short tonight, Shelly. I got a lot going on. I'm going to be on the news again at 7:30 tonight with Aaron. So come tune me in. Talking weather only. So this is a daily brew. We talk about the weather. I'm Mike. Mike's Weather Page. Been chatting weather since 2016 here online. Had a first Facebook page in 2009 and videos since 2016. Website started back in 2004. I am not a meteorologist. I'm just a hobby self-taught weather dude. I went to USF in marketing and turned weather fanatic. You could say I'm still pretty good at weather or marketing too, right? Did I get my drone? Hey, we got a long time. Look at this. I wasn't going to share it. I have not even unwrapped it yet. This bad boy is bad. Orange, so I can actually see it. This thing is incredible, man. I got 4 battery packs coming to get ya. It's like a monster. Look. My other one was in 3 hurricanes, and I think I flew it too much in the rain. I know rain doesn't mix well, but I had to get that last shot. Matt, yeah. OMG Wicks, that's been the biggest thing of the day, man. I've been tagged a bazillion times, man. That guy must be huge because everybody's been tagging me, texting me. That's pretty awesome. And he's from Florida. We're going to hook up. We're going to be buds. We're going to go hang out at Publix and eat subs. All right, so, hey, Todd, what's up? We're going to say hi for about 2 more minutes. Hey, Miss Shelly over there. How's it going, Shelly? Long Island, Joseph. Yep, we're going to talk about you all. This is my prep for going on air in Burnett tonight. I had to really digest what's going on. We're watching the current satellite. Huge eye wall replacement going on right now. Massive eye wall replacement. We might see a big old eye here soon. 2 eye walls right now, and the little one is getting eaten up by the big one. It'll be interesting to see if that big one remains. That's what these storms do. Sometimes they just get a big eye. That is the sign it's going to start expanding, and that's been the big story in this thing when it gets north. Doggies in the morning, Rachel. Try to keep these short and sweet. Lydia, good morning. Jason, yep, I'm ready. I just got to learn how to do it. Mr. Lee marching in. Space Coast, Panama. Good to see everybody tonight. Good to see everybody. Monday Night Football tonight, too, by the way. We'll meet the boys. So, Gulf of Maine. That's what we're doing. We're going to look at history. We do have Invest 98 too, by the way. I just updated the website. Hopefully it's up there. I didn't even... I took down a bunch of Margot graphics. Here we go, Invest 98. So, boom, 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 boom. That one we might be watching later next week. We'll talk about that tomorrow morning. But tonight we're only going to talk about Lee. But Invest 98 website was updated and my app. So we'll have all that updated with the latest. Tropical Tidbits not yet with spaghetti models yet. Any minute now they'll have leave the spaghetti models be running it. They just designated it. But here's what we got. This is our latest cone. All right. So starting to touch parts of New England. So here's everything in a nutshell. Things have not changed. It's going to be really close to Bermuda. I still think that they'll have tropical storm warnings tomorrow or Thursday, Friday. Every update, the eye is getting a little bit farther away, so good confidence still it's going to be west of Bermuda. What's changed today, this thing hasn't gone to the east, and it's kind of went a little bit back west. Just a little bit. You can see that they're kind of putting a little bit of bend west, and that's that little... zigzag I've been talking about. Zigzag. Every storm has a name. This one's going to be zigzag. You can get a little better picture here if you go to the NHC site, and we can really zoom in on the latest cone. And the only time I do the black line track is to just kind of get a feeling of the direction. And you can see a little zigzag showing up on the NHC map now. Right there. So we do have quite a bit of the, cone now inching into Massachusetts there. Connecticut. Rhode Island. So that cone 11 will be even further up, meaning more into Maine, New Hampshire. So this thing's been... highly debated. First it was going to be no threat, East Coast. Now they're saying possibly direct impacts. It is going to weaken. There's cool water ahead. NHC still has it as a hurricane. This is on Saturday night. What is the difference here? We got 2 p.m. valid at 2 p.m. Oh, these are 24-hour points. Yep. All right. So we got the 14th, the 15th, the 16th. 5-day cone. Now I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. AST is not Eastern time zone. Stick to ET. I was like, what the heck? What do you mean Sunday? It's not Sunday, it's Saturday. So these are the timestamps. 2 p.m. Friday, 2 p.m. Saturday. Tropical storm force winds might start arriving there on Friday. Great map to look at right here. Arrival tropical storm force winds. We could start to see these things arriving as early as Friday evening across even Long Island. You're like, what? So there you go. Nothing major hurricane coming, but impacts are coming. And I'm going to digest all that for you here, hopefully. Make some sense of this. So it is going to be going over a little cooler water left behind by Franklin. And it's still 82 degrees, 83 degrees. I don't know if it's really going to weaken with that much forward speed. They don't weaken very fast. But when it hits these shelf waters up here, the water's pretty cold. So the question mark is going to be when it does. Let's look at the water temperature map here. Is it going to stop? Is it going to keep going north? I mean, this is your anomaly maps. This is water above normal, but your actual sea surface temperatures kind of show you what's going on. So this little patch everybody's talking about that Franklin was at, it's still 81, 82, 80. So it is, I mean, it's not ideal, but it's not in the 70s really. Now, when you get up here past the Gulf Stream, it's going to be like a switch. And some of the models are showing it rapidly decrease. I don't know. I don't see storms rapidly decrease when they're still moving forward. But the water is cold, 60s. So it's going to lose intensity as it goes north. It's just a question of if it's not slowing down, you might start feeling tropical-like effects before the core of the storm gets over the cold water. So it's like the transitioning, if it does become extratropical, subtropical, it might be happening after people already have impacts from tropical winds tightly cored, like Cape Cod. So it's very weird, this transitional phase and what it's really going to do. So you can't, I guess the bottom line is you can't turn your back on it if you live in the New England area, especially because this system is supposed to widen. And that's, if you've been following me, that's been showing up on the models. History says it. Storms widen when they get entangled with these frontal lines. The frontal jet stream actually adds some mid-level energy. These systems actually expand, which can bring effects way farther out than the center. So even a track not even making landfall off Cape Cod, we're going to see inland effects because our system's going to be really wide. And I just remind people, this is no Sandy as far as, surge because of the angle. But winds you got during Fiona possibly, and winds you got during Sandy possibly, because those were officially Cat 1s also. So just because it's Cat 1, Sandy was a Cat 1. And, we still had a lot of power outages and wind damage on top of the surge, obviously. But let's just make it easy and look at all the models. Let's look at spaghetti models. So these came out at 3 p.m. And you can just on Tropical Tidbits, you can pretty much see that somebody's going to get affected. It doesn't look like this thing's going to miss anybody. Now, Nova Scotia, Bay of Fundy, Maine, even some into a little bit more down the eastern seaboard. We're getting some. Now, those are the HOFs, what do we decide we're going to call it? HOFs, the HAFS. The hurricane models, H-Wharf, HOFs, they're bending a little bit. The jury's still out on those. They're pretty new, so we really don't know track history-wise on those. But it's worth noting that they're kind of turning that way. And we're seeing that little zigzag, and then we're seeing it maybe slow down, maybe turn into the Bay of Fundy, maybe continue that forward speed and keep going north. So these are question marks. But the one question mark that's almost now off the table is that this thing's going to miss everybody. This thing is going to respond to a high-pressure system that's building, and it's pretty much got nowhere to go. That's been the theme all along. So that's that. Still watching for any teeny weeny little shifts for more of a direct impact on top of impacts that are going to be there regardless. And if you read the tone of the NHC now, the key messages, now they're just saying too soon to know what level of impacts the lead's going to have. Now, before it said if any. Now that if any's gone, if you've noticed. Now it's like what level of impacts we're going to have. All right, so let's look at the individual models and see. Let's look at, first I want to look at ensembles on Weather Nerds. We'll really zoom in on these. These are your Euros, and as you can see, the mean is still maybe, it's probably shifted west a little bit again. Black is the average of all the Euros. Looks like it's kind of going through the Bay of Fundy now, missing, but that's the average of the ensembles for the Euro. But you can see there's quite a few touching Maine, a couple of them even farther south. Again, we can't focus on the center line on this system because if it becomes extra tropical, it's going to expand, and those winds are going to be way outside of that center line. So, you know, it's going to be a far-reaching system, and they're already letting people know that. In fact, if we go back to the National Hurricane Center, wind and rainfall will likely extend well away from center as Lee grows in size. Users should continue to monitor updates, but you know, their discussion talked heavily about the growing width of our system, meaning, you know, don't focus on that line. You know, although Lee is expected to weaken later, it is expected to significantly increase in size, meaning size like this, not speed, not strength, but in size and width. So hazards are going to extend well away from the center. So there's the latest Euro, kind of ticked a little bit west right to the Bay of Fundy. Let's look at the latest GFS ensembles and see. I really haven't looked at these yet. And about the same. There's a few scragglers, but you know, it's going north, man. Somebody's gonna get a direct impact, no doubt. Over the last day, we've had teeny weeny little shifts. Today they didn't shift as much, but they didn't go back east. So, Tom, I just happened to read your question there. Some of the models have it stopping, weakening, and then going off into that bay almost. The more it hangs out on that cooler water, it definitely will start to weaken as far as winds down and the surface around the center. But if the winds expand, you know, we have bigger effects, coastal areas, inland, because of winds, storms, waves. I'm going to show you the wave map. Wave maps are just incredible. That's going to be a big story in the... I learned something new today. It's called the Gulf of Maine. I did not know that. So I learned the Gulf of Maine. I even wrote it down so I can remember the Gulf of Maine. That looks like they're going to have some pretty intense incoming waves regardless. All right. So let's head on over to Tropical Tidbits. So let's take a really good look at this real quick too, by the way. Man, that thing's really bubbling, man. It's trying to clear out the eye wall. I don't know about you all, but I always say people have hurricane hangover. This thing was a 4 days ago, right? Nobody's talking. I mean, this is in the realm of it's not hurting anybody right now. It's a beautiful looking hurricane. I mean, it's beautiful. Like, it's amazing. It's not a little bitty storm. We've seen in the past. We've tracked systems in the past that were ugly, you know, barely look like a clump of clouds, you know. This thing is a classic hurricane, and it's going to be really interesting to see it weaken. That'll be, to me, a big question mark, you know, how much it really weakens, because it's going to be accelerating pretty fast, and sometimes these frontal lines actually aid in energy a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see. It's definitely bubbling some new convection. Hurricane hunters are keeping it in the 940 range. This is on tropicaltidbits.com. Last check, 949 pressure. That's pretty dang low. We went through an eye wall replacement, it appears, so we got a new eye wall now. It's trying to clear out. All right, let's go to the models here. Let's take a lookie. All right, so let's zoom in on Euro. Let's just stick to the East Coast for now. Like I said, Bermuda, you're pretty much locked in. You're going to get some tropical storm winds later Thursday, not late, like Thursday afternoon into the night. But let's take a look at the wind field. So let's look at 10-meter winds. These are almost, 10 meters, almost surface winds. Here's the GFS, and this one just ran 18Z. Just watch the size first off. So there is all that increased size. That means the wind field's going to be really wide. That's why we can't focus too much on an exact track. It's doing that little zigzag. It actually zigzagged a little bit east. Now it's directly smack dab into the western part of Nova Scotia. But look, it still curves back towards Maine there. So you can't focus on landfall right now because a little teeny weeny little wiggle now. We know it's going to zigzag. We know there's a blocking high. A little bit of this way it's going to make a whole lot difference than a little bit this way. But the important thing I want to note here is it hasn't lost much winds. This is my curiosity. If it, this is 10-meter winds here. It's still 967 pressure. So according to the GFS here, it really hasn't started losing any strength yet as far as surface winds goes. So faster this thing comes, or is that a word? Fast as this thing, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Fast as this thing goes, the winds are. It's going to take a while. It's not going to just stop being strong. So again, it'll be a very interesting couple days. Once this thing starts taking off to the north, it is eventually going to weaken. But if it doesn't slow down over those waters, I don't know if it's really going to weaken all that much. There's definitely been hurricane gusts showing along the eastern seaboard. Ryan May, you posted that too. We can see hurricane gusts on the latest Euro on the eastern seaboard. Anyway, there's the latest Euro. Let's take a look at the latest Canadian model. I'll show you that thing expanding here. Look at the size of this thing just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Oh my God, look at that. Now this is what it would look like if it weakened. See the Canadian model? See all those purples? That's the surface winds, and then poof. Still 981, but you don't have those intense winds like you did if it was, a lot stronger. This would be more on the line of a Cat 1, maybe, Cat 1 hurricane. But notice those reds, how wide they are. So even with the placement of the Canadian model, we still got just as strong of winds here coming into that Gulf of Maine than we would have if it would have made a direct hit. And that is an extremely wide. I mean, take that circle and put it over Florida. I mean, if I was to draw that, that's those are probably hurricane gusts at least, maybe not, but they're close to it. And that would take the whole state into Georgia. So that's a huge system. So anyway, there's the latest Canadian. Latest Euro, little bit more, it's close to the border, Maine Canadian border there. And you can see the transition's a little more realistic, but this is the twofold thing I've been thinking about a lot. So as this thing's approaching, it's still tropical right here. It's 962 millibar. That's pretty low. That's Cat 3 range. I don't care how you look at it. That's Cat 3 range possibility, very high Cat 2, low Cat 3. And these purples are surface wind. This is 10-meter wind. I mean, back in the day, I used to put 850 winds, and they really look bad like that, right? But that's above the surface. 10-meter winds are a little more like real winds. And look at this, Cape Cod, purple. This is pretty intense winds. So this is all wrapping around. Again, look how big it is. That's the storyline. It's going to be big. So don't, we're not saying, it's going to hit Canada. Well, it might, but you're still going to have impacts. We don't know the impacts. We just know that we're going to have, tropical storms, strong winds, hurricane force winds near. And if this thing makes see that little zigzag, bloop, 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 bloop. This thing goes a little west, that little thing gets a little more direct impact. So we can't stop watching it. Here's that weakening, though, once it gets in that bay, 966 pressure. Still intense, I'm telling you. Surface winds might not be as intense then, but look how wide these winds. We're gonna have tropical storm force winds all around this area here. It kind of stops on these maps. It gives a little, you don't see them as much, but if we do go to the 850, at least you can kind of see where the wind field's going to be. And that means New Hampshire, Vermont, you're all going to have a lot of wind this weekend, regardless. Going back to power outages, you've had a lot of rain this summer. You got rain coming now because look at this. You got a front right now. We got heavy rain coming now. We even have this. This is today into tomorrow. That's because of the frontal line number one. There's two fronts coming your way. You got BOGO fronts right now. Look at that rain. So you're going to get rain on top of this. So it's nasty regardless for you all up there. You've been getting rain all summer long. We've been. Blocking high has been the story of the South, and all the jet stream has been doing this to you guys all summer long. So add that to the misery of a tropical system nearing you. All right, so there's the Euro. We can show the icon. It's not a good track model, but it's showing same basic idea. So if anything, the operationals might have ticked a little bit east. The operational model, that is. But again, look at these winds. These are 10-meter winds. Look at that. I mean, that's incredible winds here. So anyway, that's the story. Teeny meter little system, big system. And the rains and everything has always been extremely lopsided on the west side. So wherever this thing goes, the west side is going to get a lot of rain, a lot of storms. There's your Euro. Showing that. We're going to have shear coming up on the south. East side, kind of drying it out, and the frontal boundary is going to help juice things up. So you're going to have a very heavy western sided system, regardless of wherever it goes. That's been this theme now for 4 or 5 days. So, but 962, man, I'm telling you, that's pretty damn low. All right. So what's got me a little curious are these hurricane models. Let's go. This is Tropical Tidbits, by the way. I hope I mentioned that. I always try it. I usually forget, but. So, the hurricane-specific models, HFSA, let's do that one. They are yet to be proven how really well they are, but in the scheme of things, they have to be looked at. I don't know what they're seeing here, but they're seeing that. A little bit of turn there. So this only goes out 126 hours. Does show a little weakening. That's good. 954 though. That's still pretty darn intense. But again, Cape Cod, Boston, that whole area. This thing goes your way. Guess what? This is Saturday. Could be some pretty big winds to be dealing with on the latest the Hoffs model. I can't. The Hoffs B model. These are the new hurricane-specific models that they're going to go to. It's doing the same dang thing, man. It's turning. Now, we might get a little zigzag down the road. All of them are doing a little zigzag. All the models seem to be doing a whoop, whoop, whoop. But, man, it is going to be so close. Skirt there. Who gets heavier stuff? Just a tiny little zigzag more west. And it's still showing 947 right there. That's pretty low pressure. And then the H Wharf parent, that's the bigger scope, is starting to do that little bit of turn too. So, it's just enough to keep watching, man. This is not to scare anybody. It's not hype. We look at trends. There's reality. The NHC saying far-reaching effects now. So it's a definite. It's a definite. I mean, this thing is going to bring heavy wind, rain, storms, and surge, to some folks. It's just a matter of how close it gets and how strong it is when it gets there. But, there's definitely some chances of some significant impacts if this thing gets that close. The biggest thing I'm watching more than anything is the waves. Let me go to the Euro here a little closer just to kind of show you how this thing's going to weaken a little bit. So you kind of see the surface winds disappear a little bit as this thing actually makes an appearance in the Bay of Fundy. Here's Cape Cod. These are the Remember, everything's spinning this way, so all the storms and stuff are going to be coming in this way. But I would feel more confident if these spaghetti model lines were more in line on the hurricane-specific models. Your global models are kind of taking it right smack dab up to the Bay of Fundy now, which is just a teeny weeny little shift. And then some of these hurricane-specific models are showing this little bit of turn here. We'll have to keep an eye on that. And the KMA did the same thing earlier. It did a little thing. So we're seeing this little zigzag. There's a high pressure coming in. Another frontal line's coming down later weekend. It might pick this up and turn it back off to the northeast. But I want to look at the wave map. The wave map to me is very interesting. I've been trying to track it. The Euro is a little overdone. Euro is the only one that really does an animated wave map, but the waves are going to affect everybody. So we're already starting to see that. Why does it only go out 90 hours? Oh, no, it didn't. Anything red's 30 feet, 25 feet. Orange is 15 feet. But those are really going to be impacting Outer Banks, East Coast, northward. This is Friday morning. Purple's like 30-foot seas. 30-foot waves. These are maximum wave heights, so it's not surge, but 88 foot. It's showing 88 foot center. But these are the ones that are very interesting to me. So let's zoom in to the northeast and really dig in there a little bit better here. So we need to go. How am I going to do this here? Let's go here. Model. We got northeast, not southwest. No waves down there. I did southeast. What the hell is going on? All right. Northeast. I'm not used to hitting northeast. I'm always used to hitting southeast. Northeast. All right. So I had to look down. Gulf of Maine. I keep saying I want to say the Bay of Maine. It's the Gulf of Maine. All right. So this is the latest Euro map. Not to be scary. I don't know what the heck, if that's a lot. Can anybody that lives up there, Shelly, see if anybody mentions it? But is this like normal for a strong nor'easter or not? I mean, it showing 30-foot seas plus. That's based on the current track of the Euro. So any surge that we get, on top of that, we got waves on top of that pushing that water in with the winds. So any, hurricane force winds out here in the Gulf of Maine are going to push big waves and it's not surge, it's not surge, but it's added to surge, and it really increases the water impacts. It's like the perfect angle here to really ball up here and go in there. So not normal per the locals. Okay. Not normal. All right. Appreciate that. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you. That's huge even for us. Okay. Thank you, Becky. Corrine, I know nor'easters typically a blizzard. I mean, I got the guys that live up there, guys or gals. I don't know who. I call everybody guys. Yeah, Johnny, I was talking about that. Extratropical basically is when it sits over that cold water, and most of the energy ends up being more middle atmosphere, and it expands and it gets large. So to me, it's almost tropical up to the point of Cape Cod, and then it kind of transitions at the last second. And the GFS is showing it continuing tropical possibly before it makes landfall. If it stalls, I mean, there's a lot of unknowns on this. As it approaches, is how much is it really going to weaken? There's a lot of there's shear coming ahead and water temperature, but I don't know if it's moving at a fast pace, if it's really going to have time to really become subtropical when it's still, because once this front comes, man, it's going to lift it on out of here. It's flying. I mean, it'll be interesting to see it put on its brakes, but I mean, that's a lot of distance, man. 24 hours. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Most of the models are showing landfall on Saturday. So how much of it's, that's just, we'll see. I mean, to me, low pressure means a lot of wind. Whether or not it makes it to the surface, but they're already worried about, the wind's really expanding wherever this thing ends up going. Large system, so. Surge was bad with, Micah, nor'easter's what? The other way? Hell, I didn't even know. Are you kidding me? Oh, it's coming across. You're right. The angle. That's very smart, Harold. You're so correct. I forgot about that. Yeah, they usually come out of the cross land. Yeah, this is already going to be pushing water, so. Yeah, so I tell you, the tone is picking up a little bit with some Mets. Like we got, now they're saying direct impacts, not indirect. I've never really. Yeah, so the approach of a nor'easter is different than this approach. I mean, it makes sense to me now. That's why the Euro's showing up those winds and waves, because of the clockwise flow. I mean, it's what we see over here. I mean, so I have a feeling that's going to be a lot of water, man. Areas of Maine there, and Cape Cod, and New Hampshire there, across the coast into Maine. I think so. Nigel, we're gonna talk about that in the morning. It's so far away. It's Invest 98. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do that in the morning. So this is more short and sweet. Catch everybody up to date. Things that have changed today. Nothing really. Went through the eye wall replacement. The eye's looking really big right now. Oh man, you can almost see it man, it'd be massive. There for a while, you can almost see it. So I went to a double larger eye wall. We'll see what happens here. It's trying to open up. Check it out before the sun goes down. My side of town. Oh, the sun is down. Well, that went quick. Where'd the sun go? It just, somebody turned out the light. Tom Bodette. No, man. Darn it. Let's see what else we got. They've been having a lot of issues with the satellites, I heard. Let's take a look at water vapor. Sometimes it looks good. We'll take a look at that. Man, you know where we can really see the microwave imagery is amazing. The microwave imagery the last 48 hours, this last 24 hours. Very rare to get a really good structured system like this hanging on this long, but you can see this eye wall. You can see the two eye walls. There's our initial eye wall. The outside blue is basically the new eye taking shape, and it's huge. Whether or not it'll clear out or not, we'll have to see, but the little eye wall was intense winds. The bigger eye wall opens up. That's kind of what happened with Ian at the last second. Then we get a lot of storms around that, and the storm expands, gets a little larger. This is the beginning stages, maybe, of this thing getting bigger. Feeding off that first front a little bit, maybe. But that's impressive. So what you're looking at here is, initially, it's this eye that you'll see. So there's the first eye. And then this area here is the new eye wall. And it basically just erodes the little eye, and then all of a sudden we got a big old eye that's taking place. So you just don't see it on satellite yet. You see it there very well on the microwave imagery, which I have linked right there if you want to take a look at it. Let's take a look at some latest ensembles. Let's see if the UK is on here. And this is just, I'm not going to color them or anything, but there's your mean of all ensembles. And still touching the Nova Scotia a little bit here and going into the Bay of Fundy. But, again, we got a lot of outliers. This doesn't include the HMON, HWAR for HFAS. You know what, though? Let's take a look at the HMON. The HMON has been performing the best. There's this one website here. Let me take a look at it. It's right here. Albany. And if you go to Lee, and if you go down here to mean absolute error, and you see this is by a gentleman named Brian Tang. This shows you the forecast lead time, and so far the UK has been the worst. Best track record so far has been the Canadian and the HMON, believe it or not. This is kind of, and the HMON has been always up there, so I kind of like that. Canadian model's been a little inconsistent, but the HMON has been consistently. Now, there was a meteorologist that did the same study with Idalia, and the HMON did very well with the track. So, we can look at the track, and we can see trends, and see that the HMON is predicting that turn, the little zigzag, a little before Nova, a little bit at Nova Scotia. Canadian has been pointing to Nova Scotia. The Euro has been pointing around Nova Scotia towards Maine. We even had one, that was that one oddball run from the Euro. Euro's had a heck of a hard time. GFS has been very, very, very consistent on a turn towards Maine and then turn into the Bay of Fundy. UK has been consistent. H Wharf doesn't go out that far. And here's the HAFS. These are the ones you gotta wonder what the heck are they thinking. So the Haas models and the H Wharf are kind of doing this weird little bend, tricking things. So we'll have to see if that's anything to worry about or not. That's why the cone's so big. The cone is the cone. The cone is anywhere that the eye can go, and that's why we have the N8C already showing the cone in the Rhode Island, in the Massachusetts there. So hopefully it tightens up. Next cone comes out at 11. Watches and warnings come out 36 hours for warnings and 48 hours out for watches. And again, Bermuda likely is going to get tropical storm warnings, I would think, because Thursday we are getting not gusts, but as the day goes on, possibility here of 50 mile an hour. So not a direct hit, but still pretty decent winds. And then the GFS pretty much the same. So you're probably gonna 100% get tropical storm warnings Thursday for Bermuda as this thing goes by. And then of course the big question mark is what in the world happens up here. There's your GFS going smack dab into the bay there. We could have some pretty darn big winds here as this thing approaches Saturday morning. This is 1 a.m. Saturday, Friday night. These are sustained winds. These aren't gusts. And then the Euro is about the same. So the Euro is a little closer. It's always hard. These windy maps never really do a accurate job in winds, in my opinion. Especially the gust map. The gust maps are really impressive. Like the Euro, it's showing 87 mile an hour winds for Cape Cod. That's gust. But they did have sustained winds of hurricane force close to the coast. So, and of course that's it's gonna be a water concern more than anything. When this thing starts coming in, man, we're gonna have rotating winds and waves. Some intensity models, I don't use them very often, but they kind of give you an idea. 5 days out, we're still in Cat 1 range. So there's good consistency. This thing's going to slowly deteriorate down into 1. That's it. I don't know, man. Kind of makes sense to me. Let's put up. Ooh, maybe we get a little eye wall here we can see. It's trying so hard. We had a satellite outage, apparently. Not a good time to have a satellite outage. Where's Elon, man, when we need you? All right. So we'll talk about Invest 98 tomorrow. Cape Ann. All right, that's good to know. Annan. 6:45, Shelly says. Thanks, Shelly. Yeah, I just posted the 18 GFS. It did shift east, smack dab up into Nova Scotia now. We're going to see the little wiggles and wobbles. Again, the GFS is, during Idalia, it was the worst performing model when it came to track. But it hasn't done too bad on this one. But I think the only question mark we really got is this high pressure coming in. And we're starting to see some of these models turning. And they'll be weakening, yeah. It's not a Cat 3. It's not a major heading up in there. But I think you all know that the effects of a non-major can be pretty significant. All right, anything else we can talk about? ABC. Now you're talking, Nancy. It's going to be a big storm. Fire Marshal Bill. Lobsters washing up on the shores of Maine. Nova Scotia, Lauren, yeah, you're going to get it. I mean, you're on the east side, which is typically, just as bad as they get. Right, no Nigel yet. Nigel is what everybody's calling the big one. Korean model, Mary, yeah, we can look at that. I like to look at that one. It's been pretty consistent. I don't think we have a 12Z run yet out on it. I don't know when they run over there, but we do have the 00Z. Let's do the East Coast here. Let's see what happens. No, still 00Z, but it's what it showed earlier today. That little turn, that little zigzag and in. So, strong 940, 950 storm. Little zigzag west, little zigzag east, right into the Bay of Fundy there. So, there you go. And no storms out there, Ryan Anderson. I'll use the new drone tomorrow, I hope, Joe. Lance, I got you, buddy. Maybe I'll have to see where Jim Cantori's going first. I don't know what I would do. I don't even know what I'm going to do yet. We'll see. I need some locals to let me know how bad it really floods up there in the Gulf of Maine. I had to look down again, make sure I didn't mess it up. Hopefully you don't get power outages, Laura Lynn. You've had a lot of storms up there, but that's what these storms do. You've already got wet, saturated grounds, right? You got heavy rain today and tomorrow with this front line. You're going to have another front line coming down middle week, and then you add wind to that. That's a recipe for trees going down, so that could be a big deal. But I know our power people are on it. OSR Tammy, right? I was messaging her earlier. All right, I'm going to go because I got a big show. So I'll be with Aaron Burnett tonight at 7:30-ish. If you want to tune in, hopefully I keep it hype-free. And we'll be live. Elmer Fudd. We'll be live tomorrow morning at 9:19 again, okay? And there'll be a lot of stuff tonight. We have a new track at 11, a new track at 5. We have a bunch of models overnight, so there'll be all kinds of data. And I'll probably stay up till midnight again and watch the OZ runs. So the bottom line is this. Weakening system, yes. Widening system, yes. Strong gusty winds, coastal impacts, guaranteed. And, as far as a direct hit, man, it's still wiggling around. There's can't really say one side or the other. But there's the out to sea thing is about gone. Put it to you that way. It doesn't look like it's going to miss the Northeast, or it's not going to miss Nova Scotia. It is going to weaken up there, apparently. I'm going to go back and look at some history. Damn it, Shelly, I got time. I don't have to call in till 7:20. I got to look at one more thing here. But I do got to shave. You think I should shave for national television? I don't know. No, shouldn't. Maybe I should. No, I shouldn't. All right, past tracks. Let me see. I don't know how this is going to work. What is the zip code of... Let me see. Let me just do... What? All right, we'll do... What is it? What the hell is it? What's a big city? Bangor? Is that a big city? I don't even know where that's at. I'm going to have to learn my geography. All right, so we got 0, 4401. This is, we're going to look. Straw hat. Now you're talking. What happened here in 1940? This isn't it. What the hell's going on here? Well, maybe we did. I think, well, I'm trying. This is a historical site. Freeport. Can I just do the name of the town? Freeport, Illinois. Maine. All right. Whoa, God, we got all kinds of storms. All right, so let's look at all these storms. See, I tell you what's interesting. Most of these storms don't come in. Most of these storms come in already crossing land. It's an interesting little track. Let's take out tropical storms. Let's take out depressions. Well, we got to do extra tropical. Let's take out tropical storms. So they've had some hurricanes. They've had a Cat 2, Cat 1s. Oh man, see, this thing's hard to use because it's when they were. If they were a Cat 3 originally, then. But I tell you what's interesting, I guess. This is kind of a little tidbit. Heidi, 1971. Look at this. Is very fascinating to me. Like every one has come in across from the southwest. There's like none that have come in at an angle from here. One storm that I can see. What happened to my pointer? This is pretty interesting to me. I've had a couple of them. Cindy, 2005. I don't know what the strength of that one was, though. There's been a couple of them, but none of them have really turned in. This tropical storm, none of them, see, any of them are a hurricane right now? None of them are really a hurricane, so that's a different angle. None of them really came in at this weird angle. Cindy, 2005, I don't know how strong it was then when it came across. Oh, I mean, that was like, it came across the U.S. That was more like a nor'easter. Wasn't coming up like this one. So that's odd. This is kind of odd. Would I be wrong saying that tonight? That it's kind of a weird angle for this area to be coming in with a storm? Huh, maybe not. I don't know. I'll get fact checked probably. This is the only one. Which one's this one? This one is Heidi 71. So Heidi 1971 looks like the only one that kind of followed that track. So let's see what it was all about. Bangor, Maine. Look at that. It even pumps up. 71. 71. What were you doing at 71? Oh, hell, all these people popping up. Why would it do that? Heidi 71. Was that a movie? All right. Let's see. Tropical storm. So see, it was never strong to begin with. See, here's the difference. This is a big difference. Man, I don't want to sound like I'm hyping or nothing, but tropical systems, when they're strong, push water along with it. So if this thing weakens at the last second, like I said, it's still tropical off of Cape Cod. This thing was never even that strong. It says it never became well organized. Pressure 996. We're talking about 960 pressure. I don't know. That's a talking point to me. I'll get educated, I guess. Zip codes. I don't know zip codes. I'm just saying I was trying to find it. So it'll be recorded, Sailor Sean. Sailor Sean, I heard. I briefly saw your comment about a water spout in Key West. I'll have to get Shelly to text me that. Thank you, Tim Burton. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mike Soul. Conrad, that's all right, buddy. Listen, our fans are the best. People ask me to talk weather, I'm going to talk weather, right? Cool. All right. Now I must get cleaned up. At least comb my hair. So we'll be live in the morning. This is fascinating. I'm glad I did it. I actually made me a note history. I wanted to pull this up. So wow, right? I'm going to do a little homework on that. Maybe tomorrow we'll spend some more time on the Daily Brew. But fascinating. There really hasn't been any strong system approach at that angle. Now, unnamed 1896. I mean, how do we even know back then? But this one went to kind of the same thing, 1896. Look at that. Kind of zigzag, right? Look at that. But it actually went across the Cape Cod. So it really wouldn't be see, this one wouldn't tell us, first of all, we wouldn't have really good records, but the surge would not have been much at all because it's, it never had time to, wrap around and come in. So every storm's different. That's the bottom line. All right, we'll see y'all in the morning. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.